The 2012 Tour de France was the 99th edition of the Tour de France. It began with a prologue time trial in the city of Liège in Belgium, and finished on the Champs-Élysées copywriters in Paris. As well as the prologue, the first two road stages took place in Belgium, and one stage finished in Switzerland. Bradley Wiggins won the overall race, and became the first British rider to win the Tour. Wiggins finished 3 feet 21 inches clear of compatriot and teammate Chris Froome, making them the first British riders to finish in the top 3 in the general classification, although some months later Wiggins was retrospectively promoted to third in the 2009 Tour following the disqualification of Lance Armstrong. The yellow jersey was worn for the first week by Switzerland's Fabian Cancellara, who won the prologue. Wiggins, second in the prologue, took the leadership of the race on Stage 7, the first mountainous stage, which was won by Froome, and maintained his lead throughout the rest of the race, winning both the long-time trials, and not losing time to his main challengers for the overall title in the mountains. Froome came second in both the long-time trials, and was alongside, or slightly ahead of, Wiggins on the mountainous stages. Italian Vincenzo Nibali was third place overall and the only rider to consistently keep pace with Wiggins and Froome in the mountains. The points classification was won by Nibali's Slovakian teammate, Peter Sagan. Sagan won 3 stages, and was second or third in 4 others. German sprinter Andra Copyright Greipel of Lotto Belisol, and world champion Mark Cavendish, another British rider on Team Sky, both also won 3 stages, but were less consistent, failing to score any points in the 2 uphill sprints won by Sagan. Team Europcar's French rider Thomas Voeckler, winner of 2 mountainous stages and top scorer on 7 successive cols, won the King of the Mountains title, and BMC Racing Team's American rider Tejay Van Garderen, in 5th place overall, won the award for the best young rider, while the team competition was won by RadioShack-Nissan, and Chris Anker-Zarensen was given the award for the most combative rider. Teams. All 18 teams in the UCI's Pro Team category were entitled, and obliged, to enter the race. 4 UCI professional continental teams, 1 Dutch and 3 French-based, were also invited. A Euro-invited pro-continental teams, pre-race favourites, 2011 winner Cadel Evans attempted to defend his Tour title, but lost time on 2 key mountain stages and finished in 7th place. Runner-up Andy Schleck was not in the Tour due to a fracture of the sacral bone of his pelvis at the Creta copyright Riem du Dauphiné copyright. The third still active former Tour de France winner Alberto Contador was suspended and did not start in 2012 Tour. Other former Grand Tour winners who took part in this Tour de France were, Denis Menchov, Alexander Vinokurov, Alejandro Valverde, Vincenzo Nibali, Juan José copyright Kobo, Ivan Basso, Michel Scarpini and rider Hizjedal. According to many critics before the race, the favourite was the eventual winner, British rider Bradley Wiggins. Having finished 4th in the 2009 edition and been a podium finisher in the 2011 Vuelta a España Plus or Minusa, Wiggins had already showed good form during the season by winning the overall title in the stage races Paris-Nice, Tour de Romandie and the Creta copyright Riem du Dauphiné copyright. Stages. The route was accidentally leaked by the ASO on its website on October 10, 2011, 8 days before the official presentation. The route featured a total of 101.1 km in individual time trials and 3 uphill finishes, La Planche des Belles Filles, La Toussaint, Les Cibelles and Périgoudes. The Col du Grand Colombia, a climb that had previously featured in the Creta copyright Riem du Dauphiné copyright, Tour de l'Avenir and the Tour de l'Ain, was included for the first time, and was among 6 Orcata copyright Guri-rated climbs in the Alps and Pyrenees. Classification leadership. There were 4 main classifications contested in the 2012 Tour de France, with the most important being the general classification. The general classification was calculated by adding each cyclist's finishing times on each stage. The cyclist with the least accumulated time was the race leader, identified by the yellow jersey. The winner of this classification was considered the winner of the Tour. In 2012, there were no time bonuses given. Additionally, There was a points classification, which awards a green jersey. In the points classification, cyclists get points for finishing among the best in a stage finish, or in intermediate sprints. The cyclist with the most points led the classification, and is identified with a green jersey. There was also a mountains classification. The organization categorized some climbs as either or kata copyright guri, first, second, third, or fourth category. Points for this classification were won by the first cyclists that reached the top of these climbs, with more points available for the higher categorized climbs. The cyclist with the most points led the classification, and was identified with a polka dot jersey. The fourth individual classification was the young rider classification, marked by the white jersey. This classification was calculated the same way as the general classification, but the classification was restricted to riders who were born on or after January 1, 1987. For the team classification, the times of the best 3 cyclists per team on each stage were added. The leading team is the team with the lowest total time. The riders in the team that lead this classification were identified with yellow numbers and for the first time in 2012, helmets. For the combativity award, a jury gives points after each stage to the cyclists they considered most combative. The cyclist with the most votes in all stages leads the classification. Notes: in Stage 1, Bradley Wiggins, who was second in the points classifications, wore the green jersey, because Fabian Cancellara wore the yellow jersey as leader of the general classification during that stage. In Stage 2, Peter Sagan, who was second in the points classifications, wore the green jersey, because Fabian Cancellara wore the yellow jersey as leader of the general classification during that stage. Final standings. Jerseys Gallery. World Rankings Points. The Tour de France was one of 29 events throughout the season that contributed points towards the 2012 UCI World Tour. Points were awarded to the top 20 of finishes overall, and to the top 5 finishes in each stage. Only riders on UCI Pro Tour teams were eligible to receive rankings points. Prize money, in total, around $3.5 million was distributed during the tour. Initially, each team received a $51,243, while each team with at least 7 riders finishing the tour received a $1,600 per rider. The winner of the general classification received a $450,000, with smaller prizes for each finishing position, down to a $400 for the last rider. The stage winner was awarded $8,000 on a normal stage and a $10,000 for a time trial. The money gradually decreases, with the 20th finisher receiving a $200. The first person to cross the intermediate sprint wins a $1,500. Money is also awarded for crossing the categorized climbs, for the best young rider of each stage, the most combative rider, and the best team of the stage. 2 other special prizes were awarded. The first to ascend the Col du Tourmalet and the Col de la Croix d'Or received the Souvenir Jacques Godot and the Souvenir Henri Desgrange respectively. Each prize awarded a $5,000. References. External links, official website.